Welcome back to World Peace Puzzle. This time we're going medieval, hurtling our way along Honshu's southern coast to see some of the best examples of castle architecture Japan has to offer. With so many famous castles and shrines throughout Japan, it can be difficult for visitors to know where they should be stopping. This time, we'll be exploring some of the best known and beautiful examples of Japanese castle architecture. During our trip, we'll visit Okayama Castle, marveling at the haunting beauty of her dark exterior before taking in the calm serenity of Korakuen. We'll then cross into the Kansai region to visit Okayama's starkly contrasting sister, Himeji. We'll also climb our way up Mount Shosha, where we'll inspect the lesser known but nonetheless charming Engyoji Temple, before finally ending our scramble in Kobe, making sure to get a sample of the city's world-famous beef. We start our journey here, at Okayama Castle. The first thing you may notice is the castle's striking shadowy facade, appearing quite different from those of the other castles you'll encounter throughout Japan. Nicknamed Crow Castle, it is said that Ukita Naoie, the daimyo who commissioned it, would have chosen this color in particular to thumb his nose at the pure white of Himeji. Once ostentatiously gilded in golden roof tiles, these were removed when Okayama was ceded to the Ikeda clan, who acquired the castle after the previous clan had supported the ill-fated Toyotomi at the decisive Battle of Sekigahara. Now, only the golden Shachihoko harken back to the former opulence that once crowned the donjon. But at the foundation of the castle lies history as well. Okayama's imposing stone walls evidence the evolution of castle construction, which took place during the medieval period. Okayama's architects utilized three methods of stonemasonry. The oldest, known as Nozurazumi, had builders stack the rocks at random without the use of filler. However, this came with stability and height limitations. The second method, Uchikomihagi, hoped to resolve these issues by filling in the gaps created by the previous style with smaller crushed rocks. The final method, Kirikomihagi, makes the use of filler irrelevant by precisely cutting stone blocks to fit neatly together. Like most castle visits, walking around the grounds is free. However, for an inside look, a small fee of 400 yen is required. Once inside, visitors are greeted by the castle's sharp and chic interior. To guide visitors through the museum, each of the castle's floors features a different part of Okayama's history. We start on the ground floor, where visitors can engage with Sengoku-era Japan. Look down the barrel of a hinawaju, or flintlock musket, one of Japan's earliest firearms, introduced by the Portuguese in the mid-16th century. Imagine yourself in the armor of the samurai, presiding over your fief from this imposing fortress. And make sure to snag a picture atop this friendly mount. As we wander upward, we're able to see Okayama's role throughout the Sengoku and Edo periods. On the third floor, learn the fates of the three generals closely linked with the castle, who fought at the Battle of Sekigahara: Ukita Hideiie, Kobayakawa Hideaki, and Ikeda Terumasa. We'll see Okayama's transformation from castle town to modern city, before finally reaching the top floor, where we take a chance to appreciate all we've learned about the city and look out over the modern metropolis. Passing over the Asahi River, we enter one of the three great gardens of Japan. Alongside Kenrokuen in Kanazawa and Kairakuen in Mito, Korakuen is especially held in high esteem by the Japanese people as an example of harmoniously blending the six chief characteristics of ideal garden architecture: spaciousness, serenity, venerability, scenic views, subtle design, and coolness. Ikeda Tsunemasa, the daimyo of the province, began work on the garden in 1687 and oversaw its decade-long construction. Finally completed in 1700, despite some minor modifications by subsequent daimyo, the garden has retained its original integrity up to the modern day. Initially called koen, meaning after garden, since the garden was constructed after the castle, it's no surprise that Korakuen became an instant attraction. Naturally, its elegant design was intended to showcase the sophistication of its owners. In the Ikeda clan's records, one can find dozens of mentions of leading lords and other important figures traveling to Okayama to be entertained in the dignified locale. Indeed, upon entering, it's hard not to feel ennobled. The tranquility of the scenery, the pleasant aromas floating in the air, the stillness of the trees, all combine to create a transcendental experience. This sublime state of mind can be attributed to Korakuen's design, which is founded on the principle of kaiyu, aiming to present the visitor with a new viewing experience at every turn in the path. As you continue your progression through the garden, you'll feel swept away into another world, as serene view after serene view meets your eye. Verdant hills roll gently into one another, on which twisting Japanese trees grow. Quaint streams divide the meticulously maintained lawns, propelling fallen leaves on their journeys. A short ride on the Shinkansen takes us to our next destination. For many visiting Japan, Himeji acts as a good stopover for travelers shuttling between the eastern and western halves of Honshu. Perched atop its towering stone walls, gazing down over the bustling roads, sits the protector of the city, the White Heron, Himeji Castle. Since the 14th century, fortresses in one form or another have occupied the top of Hideyama Hill. From modest hill forts to the magnificent structure standing here today. Over the centuries, Himeji Castle has undergone numerous renovations, with the first of these serious refurbishments being on the orders of the second great unifier of Japan, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, for whom the castle was an important military base during his army's expeditions to subdue western Honshu. Similar to its Okayama counterpart, following the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, control of the castle would be transferred to Ikeda Terumasa, the son-in-law of the third great unifier of Japan, Tokugawa Ieyasu. Under Terumasa's charge, the previous three-story structure was demolished, making way for the castle's current iteration. The castle grounds were vastly expanded, 3 moats were dug to circle the complex, and the pristine white walls, for which the fortress is so well known, were raised. Since then, Himeji has stayed faithful to its aesthetic roots and retained its regal, urbane appearance. The quintessential example of typical Japanese castle architecture, Himeji boasts 83 buildings in its footprint. From storehouses to gates, corridors, and turrets, Himeji proudly boasts all the defensive measures necessary to withstand assaults. However, this was the Edo period, a famously harmonious time in Japanese history, when the country was unified under the powerful Tokugawa shogunate. The castle wouldn't hear the sounds of aggression until US bombing raids during World War II, by which point, its once impressive defenses were rendered completely obsolete by hundreds of years of technological innovation. In one such raid, a firebomb landed directly on the top of the main keep, luckily failing to detonate, and rendering Himeji Castle safe from destruction. Overcoming this event, the castle remains in its peaceful, watchful state. Follow in the footsteps of soldiers and dignitaries alike as you make your way through the Byzantine paths that lead to the main keep. Colossal stone walls rise on either side of you to a maximum height of 85 feet. The further you progress, you'll be thankful that no archers are hiding on the other side of the dozens of loopholes that are placed at frequent intervals. When you're not worried about imagined enemies, keep an eye out for the feudal crests of each of the families who once resided within these walls. Finally, at the center of the labyrinth, instead of a mythical minotaur, we find an equally intimidating 152-foot tower, the Daitenshu. For those planning to tour the castle grounds, since you cannot make reservations in advance, be sure to arrive earlier, as long queues tend to develop quickly. Unlike their European counterparts, which were often utilized as both residences and safe havens, most Japanese castles strictly focused on defense. Therefore, where one might expect displays of opulence, are instead met with bare walls and simple wood flooring. after several steep climbs to the 6th floor, we're able to gaze out from the top of the structure. From this vantage point, one can appreciate the immense size of the property the daimyo inhabited. Himeji Castle grounds consist of 576 acres of land.
It may be hard to believe that such a beautiful and celebrated castle had, on several occasions, been slated for destruction.
In 1871, following the Meiji Restoration, on account of their high maintenance costs, many castles throughout the country were being demolished. Himeji was spared, however, due to the efforts of Nakamura Shigeto, for whom a small monument of thanks has been erected. That same year, the castle was put up for auction and purchased for a mere 23 yen, or about $2,500 in today's money, with plans to raise the castle so as to develop the land. Fortunately for Himeji, the costs proved too high. Himeji Castle survived the city's bombing in World War II, and even came out of the destructive Great Hanshin earthquake unscathed. One has to wonder if the hand of fate has preserved Himeji for past and future generations alike to enjoy their singular beauty. With our medieval cravings satisfied, we're taking a short detour out of the city proper and into the quiet refuge of Mount Shosha. Only a 30-minute bus ride takes travelers out to the wilderness, where they're given the option to either hike or ride the gondola. We opted for the gondola. From here, one can appreciate the scenic view of the castle below and the Seto Inland Sea beyond. We disembark and take a short hike through the woods to a local Buddhist temple. For the cinephiles amongst you, some places in Engyoji may look familiar. In fact, several scenes from Tom Cruise's The Last Samurai were filmed in this location. Engyoji has stood here for over 1,000 years. Its placement here on the mountain is an easy retreat for those looking to escape from the fast pace of the city. To conclude our relay across Western Honshu, we're taking one final train to stay the night in Kobe. Our long journey has left us famished, and there's no better way to satiate our hunger than with world-class Wagyu beef. For dinner tonight, we're visiting Kobe Beef Genkichi in the heart of Kobe to have a taste for ourselves. Although most countries have a long culinary tradition involving beef, until the late 19th century, for both religious and cultural reasons, beef was not widely eaten by the populace. After the Meiji Restoration, as Western ideas flowed into the country, meat consumption in Japan rose exponentially.
Thanks for joining us on this rapid-fire trip through Japan's southwest coast. Join us next time when we add another piece to this world peace puzzle.